I feel like I've gained respect by being real and vulnerable, and I feel like I've given more respect to people who are back at me. And I think that our fear is that we're going to lose respect by being real. And I'm like, thank you for loving me with my warts and all, is like what I say, right? And when we can really connect in that place, like there's magic that can happen in that space.
Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up.
Hey, friends. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme. And if you have been tuning in these last few weeks, you know that I am making a shift back to alignment. You guys, I cannot wait to start introducing some of my favorite inspirational people into this conversation and give you guys some real life inspiration on how people are able to continue to spiral even when life comes at us. And today I cannot wait to introduce you guys to one of my absolute favorite people in the whole wide world, Christina Wood. You guys, she is the CEO, founder of Healing Rhythms. She's a musical therapy service that covers a giant region. Like, she's a badass 7-figure businesswoman here. And when I thought about restructuring the Spiral Up podcast to what I have loved, things that are very similar to what I used to do in the Unstuck podcast, Christina was the first person that came to mind because of the things that she has been overcoming since I've known her. And I'm going to just kind of dive into this real quick, Christina, because I think that one thing I don't say often enough is that it's more likely that clients become friends than friends become clients. And I say that with such deliberateness because when you and I met, we didn't know each other at all. Like, you literally came on my retreat several years ago because you're like, you heard about it. You're like, I need a trip. Life sucks right now. Get me out of here and let me deduct it for my taxes because it was a business expense. And the two of us became fast friends. You became a lifelong client of mine and a friend. And it's been so fun to see how like you navigate the world. And I think that like, I learned so much from you in the way that you navigate your life and the way that you always come out on top. And that's why I'm like, I need you to be on this podcast. So you guys, let's welcome Christina Wood. Girl, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. I'm excited for this pivot for you and to share today.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just get real. First off, I want to give people some inspiration first. And so what I asked Christina before we started recording is like, all right, I want you to give us like the top of the mountain view. Like, what can we celebrate you with you? What can we learn from you as far as where you're at in business now, and kind of give us an insight on what's possible?
Yeah, I think when I think about what is like, why do I do what I do? One, I love helping people and I love music. So that's what we do. Music is our tool. But ultimately, why I'm a business owner, I love to not only help people, but I want to empower my staff and our team. But I do it because I want time freedom and financial freedom for me, my kids, my family, our future.
Yeah.
And so when I think about where I started and the day-to-day hustle of just me, and then slowly building a team and growing very organically into what are the needs of the community and how do we use music to support them, that is how we've grown. And putting systems in place has gotten us to where we are. And so when I have needed to step out because life happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is why I'm able to be present with my kids. That is why I'm able to go on a retreat with you, because the systems and things that we put in place have worked. I have a rock star team behind me. I couldn't do it without my leadership team, but like, how amazing is it that like I can be home with my kids over Christmas break, or that I can take them on a spring break trip, that I can make the memories, or when shit happens, right? Because it does, like, that I can go to the doctor with them, or I can be off, or that I can be present for my family, extended family, friends. And that's what it's all about, is to build a team, build the systems, and to trust the processes. And sometimes maybe it doesn't all work the way it should, but then you can just pivot, adjust, refine, and keep going and keep building and keep dreaming. And I think it's the dream big, and like, what is your vision, your mission, and ultimately what fuels you, what makes you get up in the morning. Why do we do what we do? Like remembering that at our core and that we don't lose that, and like what's our shining star and our true north, and be true to our core values. That all helps, and that helps you get to where you want to be, and that helps you overcome, and it helps you thrive.
And I know that your business is going to continue to grow because you are a badass and you just continue to use that North Star to continue to serve more and more people. But give us some insight into your business now. Like, what do you guys do? Who do you serve? Just so that we can get some context behind some of the things that we're going to talk about next.
Sure. So I am a board certified music therapist, and that is who I employ on our team. We use music as our tool to help people of all stages and abilities in life. So in our clinic, which is in Rochester, we serve primarily kids and adults with special needs and disabilities and mental health needs. So we use music to figure out, how do we help a child with autism? How do we help an adult with a brain injury or a serious mental health diagnosis? How do we use music to help them cope, to master the skills, to find some joy? And then we partner, if it's not directly to a client, we partner with businesses and other entities in the community. So we have these community partnerships. So we partner and provide music therapy services and build programs for medical facilities, for hospitals, for hospices, for mental health agencies. We help them design a program that will fit their budget, their needs. And then maybe we eventually transition that to an employee position, or we have some long-term contracts where we've worked with very large healthcare organizations for over 18 years. And so, designing programs, designing research, publishing what we're doing every day has also been really amazing because we have these phenomenal champions. And that's how we've grown into now serving 30 counties. It was just me. Now we have a team of 12 therapists. We serve over 30 counties in rural central Minnesota. And it's about getting high quality services to people, empowering our team so they can do what they love. And then I take out of all the back end things that maybe, all the business contracts, all the day to day, and empower them so they can do the best to help all the people that we serve.
I'm just going to recap this, you guys, because I want you to understand the context of this as we go into the next version of this conversation, that Christina has built a company that went from just her to now employing 12 people and having contracts with different services throughout 30 counties. And you guys continue to grow. You have, one of the clients that you have is one of the best healthcare systems in the world that trusts you guys to bring your services in.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch you. And because I know you well enough and have known you long enough that I know that you are so present. If your kids need to be picked up from school, you make that happen. You
Absolutely
are the mom that makes sure that they get to go on spring break to Colorado, that you really have always portrayed a very family first perspective, wanting to make sure that your kids have the best life they possibly can. And that you've never given me a sense of needing, it's almost like you portray the reality of the and life, that you can have this beautiful, purpose-driven, successful, ambitious company and be a present mom. And
1000%. The both and always. There's always a both and.
Yes. And I think that that's where so many of my clients come to me. They're like, I don't understand how to make it all work. And it's like, this is exactly why I want to have these conversations, you guys, because there are people out there that are making it work. And oftentimes I hear people admit to the thoughts that they think, where we look at people that seem successful and we're like, I could never be her, or she just is so lucky. And I just had this conversation with one of my clients today, and it's like, we did not fall here, people. We crawled our way here the way that we needed to. And that sometimes it looks like we have this glorious life and that there are no things that are thrown at us and that everything just comes so easily. But really, you have been if I think about bringing us back to the 80s, right? And I think of She-Ra, you're like, pow, pow, with your sword, negative stuff coming at you left and right. And you just handle it and you figure it out.
Yeah.
And you've overcome so many things that could have caused you to spiral down and prevent your growth in the last several years since I've known you. And I want you to kind of maybe give us some insight into as much of that as you're willing, as far as the things that have come at you. And you and I both, we carry this mindset that we're not victims, but we also understand that circumstances can happen to us that we get to rise above, right? And so, and a lot of the things that come at us, other people might say, for me, this is happening to me. And I think that's possibly one of the themes that is going to come out of this series is that people like you and I just are like, okay, well, that just happened. That sucks. Now what? So tell us a little bit about the things that you've had to kind of deal with, overcome the last several years.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's always something, right? And we all have something. And I think the first thing is like just recognizing that and like, how do we extend some compassion and grace to one another? Because we never know what somebody's going through.
Right.
And so I've tried to embrace that because I have gone through a lot of things, like starting out in my career in college. Like I started as an organ performance major because I love to perform. And then I had health issues. So then instead of being like, oh, this totally sucks, I'm never going to be able to do this, I'm not going to be able to pursue my life dreams, that's where I had the pivot of like, wait, music is so powerful. What about this music therapy stuff? Pivot, change schools, change degrees, like truly find my passion and my purpose. So then, fast forward, like things are going good. I'm starting my first professional programs in the Twin Cities Metro, developing pediatric music therapy programs, have the opportunity to come down into the Rochester community and build like where I'm at now. But like life happened, right? Like relationships don't go like you think. Marriages don't go like you're going to think. And then, you look at, okay, how do you overcome? Like, where's your village? Who's going to lift you up? Who can you confide in? Because yes, while we have stuff and shit that happens, like it doesn't need to be public to everybody. It doesn't also mean that we have to be fake and be like, oh, everything's great in Pollyanna, because that's not going to help either.
Right.
But like, who's your village? How are you going to build that up in day to day and then lean into them? But also like trust the professionals. Like, where can you find a counselor? Where can you find a Reiki provider? All of that. And then like, if you're in the stage of having a family, like my kids were sick kids. Like that's hard, and we're talking like not just like a day-to-day illness, but like hospital stays, ambulance rides, ICU. So lean into how can you find your village of support? Being so blessed, like, oh my gosh, I'm so trusted. Like my trusted coworkers, like they're going to take care of my kids. They're going to help me when I reach out for help of like, hey, how do I do this? Like being humbled and asking for help because people want to help. And I think that's a big piece of it. And then as I'm building my business, like it's okay to like take time off and it's okay. And I don't think for me, I wish it wouldn't have taken to have kids to do that, but that's okay. Can't change my past. So like, how do you do that? And then like when things like COVID happen and you've built a business and you think things are great. And then like, wow, the world just fell apart.
Right.
Like, how do we lead with grace? How do we lead our team when maybe there's uncertainty in the world, like right now? Like, how do we lead? And I think that's with compassion, with grace, and like sometimes saying, you know what, I don't have it all figured out either. And figuring out what is that transparency that we have with our team and some of our clients without sharing everything. But that sometimes helps them understand, like, hey, you know what? She's doing the best that she can right now.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's going to empower them to step up and use a skill set that maybe we hadn't thought about before. And when I think about where was I going to bring my team up into some leadership roles before I went on my last maternity leave, I couldn't figure it out. And so I brought two up into leadership at the same time. That was the best decision I ever made, because then that equipped us for this really strong leadership model where we can leverage people's strengths. And so then when I have to be off suddenly, I get to be present with my family, with my kids, with life happening. When I went through a horrible, awful divorce, like, how do I lean into my leadership team? How do I lean into some of my trusted business friends and be like, you know what, like, I need some encouragement today. Or, you know what, I think I really need this awesome retreat. And just being real. Like, I think being real with people, and we don't always have to have it all together. Because that is also really, yes, grit 1,000%. But how do I lead with grace when things are crumbling around us? And how do we trust that we've done the work and we can dig deep?
Yeah.
And that sometimes it's okay to have tears, or sometimes it's okay to let yourself take a mental health day. Because isn't that what we tell our staff and our clients and our friends to do?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I
So
think about, so
yeah.
like if I were to, there's so many things that you've gone through in the last couple of years that I've known you, and you've mentioned several of them. Let's just say I'm going to pick one of the last ones that you mentioned is, your divorce. And I know that you guys haven't always agreed on the best things for the kids and the custody and those types of things. And the amount of emotional energy and time energy and financial resources that have gone through this process would really take some people down and out, and they'd be like, I can't adult today. I can't deal with this. I'm not strong enough. I don't have it. And then what happens is our business then slowly starts to drift away because we haven't put the time and energy into it. And I'm just like one tiny example of how do you deal, Christina, like, how do you deal with that? Like, it could
Yeah.
take so many people out. And I
Mhm.
want to know, like, what got you to get through the days, the weeks, the months, the years of having to deal with just that one particular thing?
Yeah, I think I always joked with one of the chaplains that I used to work with when I was doing program development in the cities. And he would say, how do you keep knocking on closed doors? Like, how do you keep building programs? How do you professionally? And I was like, the 3 Ps: patience, perseverance, and prayer. And for me, that's a lot of how have I overcome personal things? I mean, my faith is first and foremost. And sometimes that means like praying, sometimes that means being really mad at God.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, but I think it's really leaning into my village and saying, hey, you know what? Like, I know that I'm a verbal processor. So, like, reaching out to my core trusted people, like, hey, I'm really struggling right now. And I remember that first retreat, like, one of our things that you had us do was to say, hey, what are something in the last 3 weeks or the last 3 months or the last 6 months that you've done well? And I was so stuck that I couldn't see.
Mm.
And so reaching out to some trusted friends and colleagues to be like, hey, I need some help. And they're like, are you kidding? And I'm like, yeah. And then building upon that and being like, oh, I can be lifted up. I can be filled. And I think for me, figuring out what is my self care, what does that look like? And for me, it's my village for sure.
Yep.
And then Reiki,
Yeah.
life changing, where's that energy work? But also, like, what is the intention I'm setting? Like, what am I manifesting? What am I dreaming of? And still dreaming big, even though it might not be right now. And trusting that there can be that both and.
Mhm.
This is really hard. This really sucks. And I have to trust that this is just temporary at some point.
Yeah.
And then just leaning in and asking for that help, like
I,
really humbling myself and
I've
being
heard,
like,
yeah,
I need help.
I heard this recently. Somebody say that there's a difference between being optimistic and positive. And positive is almost like this glossing over of pretending things aren't wrong. Whereas optimism says it might suck today, but I believe that tomorrow's going to be better. And that's what it sounds like, that you were able to envision a better business, a better life, a better whatever for you, for your kids, and acknowledge like today sucks. And today I need my help. And I love when I get your text messages like, hey, prayer friend, like I need some prayer today around this. And I just feel so honored that I get to be that for you. And I think that that's one of the things that we oftentimes overlook, is that there are people in our circle that want to be there for each other, because when I need it, I feel like, okay, well, I know that I've been there for her, and so she'll want to be there for me because it felt good to be there for her. And I think that being there for other people gives us this sense of fulfillment and permission, I guess, to ask for help back. And so thank you for that gift, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that so many of us don't give ourselves that permission to just be vulnerable, like you said, and to ask for help. But that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed about you, is that you keep a really amazing circle of people around you. And that kind of brings me to a question that I have, because I know that I've been guilty of this. When I'm feeling like life is getting hard, I tend to withdraw. It's like it's almost like I just can't be needed by anybody else. And I have all I can to just function to get through like what I need to get through and to be there for my family. And then what happens is I have to be intentional about making sure that I maintain relationships with friends, even when it's harder for me to do that and it's easier for me to withdraw and retreat.
Yeah.
That,
1000%.
is that, I mean, is that similar to
Yeah.
you? Or, I mean, or is it just like you just because my husband's very much extroverted. So he's like, he wants all the people around, and I am very much a recluse. Like I could be like, I'm either on a plane or I'm on my couch. Like there's no in between, right?
Yeah.
And so is that something that's, have you had to work towards making sure that you're maintaining this support system in your life?
Yeah, I think because time is finite, right? You can't necessarily stretch time, but we can optimize how we manage our time
Right.
and choosing how we manage our time and how we fill our time and who we surround ourselves with. And for me, the biggest piece is who is that village and how do I nurture them and how do I lean into them? So, yes, asking for prayer because sometimes people want to help, right? But that's something like, okay, we might not see each other for a while, but I can say, hey, I'm having a hard time. Can you pray for me? That brings me comfort and that lets you feel empowered. And then, like, also knowing I know that I need like my family time, my kid time. I've also learned I need my sleep. I also know that I need my relationships, my friendships. I need some type of professional development, whether that's being in a coaching program, being with some of my business besties, and taking some intentional time away. And that looks different and that pivots over time. So maybe now instead of having my college girls weekend once a year like we used to, like maybe that's saying, hey, you know what, we're going to set an hour aside and we're going to have a phone call, or I make good use of my drive time. Like that's when I try to call people and catch up. It's funny. Like as the sun, I'm sitting by a window and as the sun is changing, like it's in my face, but like sometimes it's pausing for me. Like nature fuels my soul, right? Like just pausing, being like, oh, like we're actually seeing the sun today. What is this bright
Where
thing in
is
the
it? I don't have
sky?
it here yet.
It's at my house. It's shining through. Or like pausing and being like, oh, look at that beautiful sunset. And like the things that we're modeling when we don't even think our kids or our friends are watching, like we're in the car and a kid is like, one of my kiddos is like, look at that beautiful sunset, mommy. I'm like, or like, okay, we're going to take some deep breaths. And maybe it's not because they need to. Well, they probably do, but so do I. And like, what are we modeling? What are we teaching?
Yes.
Like reaching out for a prayer or being like, you know what, mommy needs time to see her friend, or, like figuring out how do we explain that and how do we model that for ourselves, for our family, our team. And I think that looks different for everybody. And maybe you're an introvert, maybe you're an extrovert, but like figuring out what fills your cup. And that might change from time to time or day to day. And that's okay. And certainly I've had the moments where I'm like, oh my God, why can't I just like, and I feel like we should on ourselves so much.
Oh my
And
God.
like, we are our total worst enemy. So think about like those encouraging words that like your coach or your friend or whomever speaks into you, and like allow that in, and think about how we speak to our friends and our family and how we uplift them. And sometimes like, maybe I need to take my own advice.
Right?
So, and being real, like sometimes like, hey, I'm struggling, and it's okay to reach out and be like, I don't know. And then like pouring your heart out to, a couple minutes to a friend, and then being like, oh, thanks. Yeah. One day at a time. I totally got this. Of course, it'll be fine. But it's that both and.
Yes, 100%. And one of the things that I love about you and what you're telling us today is just this embracement of vulnerability and authenticity. And I think that like I've had conversations lately where there was a difference, like a massive difference between like boss LaChelle and like real LaChelle. And the real LaChelle conversation went so much better because I would just real like, hey, girlfriend, I'm struggling right now and this is what I need. And I'm having a rough week and this is why. And it was like such a different perspective. And when you can just be real with people and allow them to learn by being modeled to them, that it's okay to be real too. And it allows all of us to give each other grace and support and understanding instead of expecting everybody to be perfect and robots and on all the time. And then we get
1,000%. Yeah. And like some of the conversations I'm having with my kids right now are the same with I'm having with my team. Like, you know what? Like sometimes the world feels heavy, and like, let's just have some compassion, some grace. And like, as therapists, we're not here to like do anything other than validate and support people in the moment. And that's what we're here to do for our clients, for our friends, for our kids. And sometimes it's a reframing. Like maybe we can't change, I can't change what my kids went through. I can't change what I've gone through. But what I can do is make a choice of how I can learn and I can grow. And that like failure is a promise, right? But we can choose, are we going to fail forward and we're going to choose to learn and grow, and how do we overcome? And it doesn't mean like it's this, oh, life is great and I'm going to be fake and like, but like, hey, you know what? Today's a hard day. So I just need a little bit of grace, and I've learned to say that to my leadership team. And they've also like reached out, be like, hey, how can I help you? And I think that's how we can be real with our team, with our clients, with whomever of, life happens and it happens to all of us. And we often don't know what people are walking through. But if we can be a little bit vulnerable, be a little bit real without like significantly oversharing, like that goes a long way.
No,
And how do we lead through those things? Like
Yeah.
that's so good for so many people on so many levels.
I mean, I feel like I've gained respect by being real and vulnerable. And I feel like I've given more respect to people who are back at me. And I think that our fear is that we're going to lose respect by being real. And I'm like, thank you for loving me with my warts and all, is like what I say, right? Because I'm not perfect. And when we can really connect in that place, like there's magic that can happen in that space. And one of the other things, Christina, that you mentioned early on in our conversation that I think I don't want to blow past, because I think it's so fundamental to your resiliency and your massive growth in your company, is the systems that you've set up. So the masculine strategy and the systems that goes into success, because those have been allowing you to have the flexibility and the wiggle room and the support that you needed when you needed it. Do you have any advice for people on anything regarding those systems that you have set up?
Do it, first of all. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I think maybe something you say is like, just like done is better than none, right? And like it can always be refined. And I think we're constantly refining our systems. And I'm trying to share with my team or my leadership, like, oh my gosh, like I'm not human. Like I screwed up, or like, can you drop this in our chat again so it's easily accessible, because I've created all these things and sometimes I can't remember everything. So like, what are your cheat sheets? What's your SOP? And like, just because it worked then doesn't mean it works now. So how do we consistently refine things? And how am I real with my team of like, you know what, I designed this and I'm not the one doing the day-to-day. So let's have a conversation of like, what's working well? Where are the pain points? Where am I the stopgate? Because sometimes I'm the bottleneck, and like, it's okay to recognize that. So how can we change that? How can we do it differently? How can we learn and grow and refine without making it like crazy hard and overwhelming?
Yeah.
And I think when we have made the choice, like, how do we continue to learn and grow? How do we have this growth mindset and leverage strengths? You know what? I wish I could say like, tech is my thing and I'm awesome at it. And I can do it. But like, I know that there's people on our team that have more strengths in those areas. So how can I empower them to be like, hey, can you like spearhead this? And here's my ideas, and then report back to me, and let's make a plan to move forward together. So figuring out what are those systems, and a system that starts might be awesome for a while, and it's okay to pivot. It's okay to adjust and grow forward as you grow. Learning pains, growing pains.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's having deliberate, intentional conversations with the team and refining it. I think that so oftentimes we get caught up working in our business and not taking a step back and pausing and working on our business and like looking at what's working, what's not working. And so do you guys have time set into your routines where you intentionally step aside and take a look at those processes then, it sounds like?
So we have intentional time set aside for like our leadership team to meet. Then we have once a month we come together as a team. We just do like business updates, but we also share, really important, I think it's to share team wins. Let's just like round robin around the room really quick and share like, hey, what's going well? How can we celebrate you? Because it's important to share those wins and not be isolated and not be completely bogged down in all the business things. And then we always do once a month of professional development. Like, how can we empower you? What skills do you want to work on? Like, we've had you come to our team before. We've done Enneagram or different strengths workshops. How do we learn and grow together? And then sometimes it's like identifying, where's that pain point? Oh, that system with this documentation or this assessment or whatever it might be, like we're overhauling. And sometimes it doesn't go like we think, or sometimes we try something that doesn't work. That's okay. So we grow and we choose to learn from that to continue to refine. And so I think being willing to look at things and not being set and rigid in some of our ways can be really helpful in business and in our own like I've done it this way for forever. Cool. Well, what's working and what's maybe not, you
Right.
know?
And it sounds like, you going, I'm trying to like take several steps back to when you were on your own to where you
Mhm.
are now. And the flexibility that you have is because you have other people that can help to carry your load. So when it came to you growing from being a solopreneur to now having this massive company that serves 30 counties, did you find that for you, and I know everybody's probably different, maybe not, but did you find that it was that you needed support staff to help you get organized administratively, or did you find that you needed another you therapy wise when you first started expanding your team? I'm just curious.
Yeah, for me, first it was manpower. I need another therapist. I can't do all this alone.
Mhm.
But everybody's probably a little bit different.
Yep.
And we've had different levels of administrative support over the years. Some of it has gone really well. And sometimes I've had to admit defeat and be like, you know what? This is a train wreck. We need to pivot.
Yeah.
Like, we need to let somebody go.
Huh?
Um, and sometimes that means I have to hire a consultant or somebody who's an expert because, like, yep, I've used QuickBooks for forever. That's not what we started with, but you know what? I'm still not a QuickBooks expert, and I need somebody who just, like, that's all they do, and they can, like,
Yes.
step in. And I always say, like, sometimes the finances of a business, it's like you're standing naked in front of somebody.
Oh,
Really,
of
that's what it
course.
feels like,
It totally
right?
is.
Because
Yes, it
that's
is.
like it's so important to talk about money,
Mhm.
but also it's like, oh, but
Yeah.
we have to be comfortable with it. We have to know our numbers, we have to know our margins, and hiring somebody to coach and mentor
Mhm.
on that can be really helpful.
Yeah.
So where are some of those pain points where maybe you need to bring in an expert, and maybe it's not an employee,
Right.
maybe a contractor, or maybe it's just a
Yes.
very short term, to work through a project or to, like, when we were redesigning our time card and billing system, like,
Yeah.
wow, that was really painful and lengthy, but it was really important.
Yeah.
So looking at who are the experts that we can lean
Yeah.
into? Who can we find
So
to help?
smart.
When we redid our website, like, when we rebranded, like, okay, we started one way, then we had to pivot. You know what? That's okay because we learned
Yep.
through all of it. So just figuring out, like, sometimes it's in-house hiring,
Mhm.
sometimes it's leveraging different strengths, sometimes it's bringing on another, like, administrative employee, or maybe it's contracting it.
Mhm.
And I've done all sorts of different things based on where our needs and where were maybe some errors or pain points, and how do we learn and grow and keep moving forward.
And
And
I
everybody's gonna be different.
And I think that the theme here that I keep hearing over and over again is recognizing where you need support and then
Yep.
allowing yourself to get that support, whether that be in your prayer circle, in your inner circle of support to help with your kids, or whether that meaning I need to hire somebody for this role or I need to contract somebody for this job, that you have never been afraid to say, hey, this feels heavy. I need help here and here and here, and I'm willing to invest in that so that I can have this long term thing. And I think that that's one of the things that when we have to think about systems is an investment into our future. And you thinking about those systems early on when you had your youngest, who's now six,
6th grade.
six,
Yeah.
your youngest though, your
Oh, my youngest is 5. Yeah.
5. I
Mhm.
was thinking
Yeah.
she was 6. Yeah. But anyway, so she's 5 years old. Like that was 6 years ago that you were
Mhm.
pregnant with her and you were thinking about all this. Never in a million years did you think that you were going to have to go through all the things that you have gone through in the last 6 years, did you?
Yeah. No, never in my
Medical
wildest dreams would I
emergencies,
have ever.
COVID, like, just big stuff, right?
Mhm.
And so taking those steps preemptively and recognizing where those systems needed to be placed in and looking at as an investment in your future has also allowed for your resiliency plan to be built into your company. And as you
Mhm.
said, you keep pivoting, you keep adjusting, but recognizing when you need help and leveraging that help is so freaking important. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Girl, I
Humbling yourself and asking for help. My
Yes.
gosh.
Well, okay. So we just have a few more minutes left, and I wanted to make sure that I asked you, like, do you have any big tips that we haven't already discussed that you felt were instrumental in growing your company to the point that it is now?
Wow. First of all, just keep believing in yourself and don't give up, because I promise you there are gonna be road bumps and detours in this journey, and you're gonna wanna quit. You will, but
Mhm.
don't. Don't give up on yourself, don't give up on your dream, and sometimes you have to pivot into a way that you didn't think, and that's okay. And I think too, just leaning into your village, building your systems, but leaning in, humbling yourself and asking for help, hiring help. And then like taking those financial risks or investments. Some people might say, that's so risky. Like, why are you doing this? I really believe in education and growth. So that means investing in a coaching program or a long-term continuing ed opportunity, or taking a retreat to like fill your cup and give you that like fire in your belly and that reset again. Those things are all worth it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You are such an inspiration to me. I adore you so much. You guys, this woman right here is making a massive difference. So Christina, how can people find you if they want to follow your journey, get to know you more? We'll have all of the things in the show notes as well, you guys. But Christina, is there anything that you want to steer people towards if they want to continue?
Yeah. I mean, if you're curious to learn more about us, find us on our website, healingrhythmsmt.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. And just reach out, ask questions, ask to meet for coffee. We're happy to have a conversation. And we do a lot of remote work too. So even if you're not in Minnesota, happy to reach out and provide support if we can.
Oh my God, I love that so much. And thank you for just being such a beautiful living example of what it's like to continue to spiral up, even when life is trying to get you to spiral down. And you and I know we both love all things, manifesting with faith and recognizing that staying in high vibes is a great concept when it comes to manifestation, isn't it? But conceptually,
Absolutely.
It's really hard when life is coming at you. And this is really why I wanted to do this series, you guys, is because I want you to understand that if you're having a crappy day, that you're not alone, that there are people who are rising beyond the crappy days all around us. Let's tap into their wisdom. And Christina, thank you for letting us tap into yours. I love you so much. And thank you. Thank you again. You guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. This fills my cup. This makes me feel like I'm back in alignment, learning from people. And I've shared this, I'm sure, in several times over the last 6 years, but a lot of the motivation behind when I started the Unstuck podcast is because I always wanted to know how my grandma was able to get through so many hard things, both of her parents dying when she was young, in separate occasions, 2 children passing away. Lots of crappy things happened to her, and she always found ways to continue to spiral up. And I never got to ask her, Grandma, like, what is it that you do to make you who you are? And every single conversation that I get to have with people like you, Christina, is like a little conversation I get to have with my grandma. And it's just so cool to be surrounded by people who get to be real, and we get to be inspiring, and we get to be driven, and we get to be ambitious, but we also get to inspire people even on their hardest days. So thanks for being that for me, my love.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.